Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 77 of Show Fever. Today we'll be going over Are You Famous Yet by 12V. Now, this single was an absolute jam. He cooked on the beat on this. Like, it is a phenomenal song. Now this song, with the content material, it's a little bit similar to more of the songs like Obsessed and stuff like that, so I can't really relate on a personal level with most of the content material. However, there are some select lines in there which I can relate with. So I'll just kind of give my interpretation of those lines and explain how I can relate with them. Just give my brief little review of it. One of the first lines is this is the type of, well, he doesn't say stuff. This is the type of stuff they play and say how he ain't rich yet. That's honestly a great question. I honestly have no clue how 12V isn't bigger than he is, because like he is producing actual masterpieces, which he mentions how. And one line he says, "I make all this artistic or something like I make all this artistic stuff, and they don't seem to mind. But when I put auto tune in my voice, they say that it's fire or something like that." And guys, bar honestly, because like okay, I'm genuinely perplexed at how like dude is not bigger than this, because like I don't know. I think it's really just because of a lack of exposure. Because holy smokes, I believe he should be the top artist. His music is phenomenal. It's utterly grand. It's the beats are phenomenal. The lyricism is immaculate. Like everything's great. However, we're stuck with this like not amalgamation, but really like underestimation of his skill. Because like he only has right now he has less than 1,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, and I mean this recent song. I mean it's only been like a couple of hours. Well, not a couple of hours, but like a handful of hours since it released. It's got like less than 100 views. I've already listened to it like 4 times though, so. But yeah, so that line is it really is a good question, because I have no clue how he isn't rich yet, because he should be massive, like up there in the leagues with some of the top rappers, like your Weekends and stuff like that, your Bryson Tillers and similar like categories. But yeah, we have this, and then one of the other lines that I really enjoyed was okay. So what he stated was, "I don't even know why I try anymore. I'm stuck, and I can't confide in these." Rhymes with doors, women of the night, to say the least. And that's probably my favorite euphemism for a certain select group of individuals. But I really relate with that, because, like, okay, well, not with the women of the night part, but okay, so, like, uh, I don't even know why I try anymore. That's a really good question, because, like, when you are striving for something that you want so bad that you know you can achieve, but you are not seeing any progress, it really makes you question, like, why am I still going for this? What is my reason for this? And I believe that reevaluation is a very integral when it comes to actually pursuing something that you desire, because that reevaluation helps to either obliterate your desire or absolutely bolster and make your ambition more steadfast. Because if you don't do that, you're just going to continuously go on, and you won't recognize the flaws which do develop in your ambition, and you'll eventually end up dying. Your ambition will eventually end up dying. You won't end up dying, but I mean, you may die before you reach your ambition because of that, but your ambition is ultimately going to die. You're not going to achieve what you want. So it's valuable to reevaluate your ambitions and question why you even do any things anymore. Because if you don't know why you're doing it, then there's no reason in doing it. Because if there's no reason, I mean, if you can't find a reason, then no one else is going to be able to find a reason. There's ultimately no reason in you pursuing what you're pursuing. Like, and that can be applicable to anything. It can be applicable to like a desired career. It can be applicable to like your studies and your ambitions, writing, your religious values. Because I mean, if you don't know, like as I'm personally a Christian, if you don't know what you're striving for, if you don't know that you are striving for the glory of God and like the development of the Christian faith to ensure as many people get to heaven as possible, then your faith is essentially null and void, because you're doing it for no reason. If you're not doing it for God, then you can't really even consider yourself a Christian, because then you don't know Christianity itself. You haven't read the Bible. You don't like have steadfast values, and therefore you are a lukewarm Christian. And that, as the Bible says, the lukewarm Christians will not see the gates of heaven. Well, I don't know. Don't say I do not mean it does say. I don't know if that's an exact line, because I mean I can't like quote a lot of scripture off the top of my head, but I know that it suggested at least. But yeah, so we see this, and so I just really like that line, and the feeling of being stuck is a real one too, because like when you question your ambitions, like the most is when you feel like you're stuck, when you just feel a plateau. Plateaus are really daunting when it comes to your ambition, because they seem just long stretches of no change, and yes, those moments of change are just so exciting. You're seeing development. You're seeing alterations. You're seeing as you're growing, and it's so fun to watch something grow. However, it is quite boring or quite, I guess, what's the word I'm thinking of? Not debilitating, disappointing when you see that you have reached a area that's just flat on the graph. It's just straight stagnation, because then you question if you're even really doing anything for the development or if it will ever develop again. It's like watching as a flower or something stops instantly at one point of growth and just being like, will it ever grow any larger? Will it grow any more beautiful? And that's one thing that can just be really, I guess, kind of disheartening when you are pursuing something. However, it is important that you get over those goals via what I just talked about, which was a reevaluation. Because if you don't reevaluate at those moments, you're going to lose all faith. Because if you don't realize that there is a brighter goal at the end of the line, or that there isn't a end goal that is worth striving for, and if you can't find it as being worth striving for, then you're going to lose it. And that's just how it is. That's just how ambition works. I mean, I've had my fair share of ambitions in my life, and I've had some ambitions that I've lost. Like, I used to play basketball, and I was just never really saw a point in striving. I reevaluated, and I was like, I don't want to achieve that light at the end of the tunnel because I don't think it's there for me. So I dropped basketball. However, with other pursuits, like, I mean, heck, one day I want to be a lawyer, and I'm going to be a lawyer. Even though there's plateaus at times where I may see a stagnation in my scholastic development or my public speaking development, I'm still going to strive as hard as I can every single day to become that lawyer, because that is my goal, that is my ambition. I'm going to, and I plan to change the world and change the lives of the people around me by becoming that. I want to defend what I believe is one of the most, I guess, justified and, like, holding the most sanctity in the human world, which is the law. I want to defend that, and I want to make sure that is upheld to the utmost of my ability. And I believe that's one of the most honorable and noble pursuits that someone can partake in, at least as a regular human. So that's what I want to do, and that's why I want to do it. I want to make the world a better place, and I want to defend the law, because the law is what makes us human and what keeps us from being savages, and what keeps our society together in general. Because, yes, government is necessary. However, without law, then everything would fall into chaos and anarchy. With the a world with no law is directly synonymous with anarchy, and law is always associated with order because it leads to order. It leads to sanctity. It leads to normality, and it leads to just a functioning society. But sorry about that tangent. Back to the song. But yeah, I mean, those were the two lines that really stuck with me. Now there was other just really hard bars throughout all of it. Like, it was a great song in general, and I loved the beats, like I said. And but yeah, the title of "Are You Famous Yet?" is also kind of one that's had like a disheartening question at points, because someone can ask, "Oh, or have you reached this yet?" And when you have to tell a person that you haven't reached a certain thing, it can be kind of saddening, because you're like, crap, am I doing enough? Do people believe I'm doing enough? Am I actually seen as being a hard worker, or am I just seen as some lackadaisical bum who isn't actually working toward their goals? So it can be very disheartening to get that question. And I should believe all around, this song, though it has other inclusions, like I said, of the more not really related with my life that I can't really relate with, I believe it has a very good underlying core, like, motif and theme, which is really good. I really enjoyed it, and I love with 12V songs that no matter the content material, I can always derive something from it. And even if I can't like I said, I can always derive something from it. But even if I couldn't derive anything from it, I still get a sick beat, like a phenomenal beat. But yeah, I just yapped for way too long about a 1 minute and 40-second song, but I highly recommend you go listen to it. I pray this song gets on Spotify. Young 12V, if you're watching this, buddy, we need the songs on Spotify. We need the singles on Spotify. They've been too phenomenal recently to not go up on Spotify. They're so good. I want to listen to them over and over and over again, but I don't use YouTube Music. I use Spotify. I believe a lot of people use Spotify, bro. If they were up there, they would get so many listens. Like, I know, like 12V, Spotify isn't that massive, but, like, guys, it would get spread, it would get learned, and as people pick it up on YouTube, they're like, oh, I use Spotify, so I'm gonna go listen to it on Spotify. Guys, I just need them on Spotify, because I want to listen to it more and more, but I don't use YouTube Music. Like I said, I use Spotify. So if I'm going to just generally listen to it, like, in the car, or when I'm going about doing my things, then it's gonna be on Spotify. So I pray that they get on Spotify soon, because they're so good, and I want to listen to them more and more. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about Are You Famous Yet by 12V, and all I really have for episode 77 of Shelf Review. So thank you very much for watching.